When you look at this matchup, what jumps out about these two teams' ability, or maybe lack thereof, to run the football consistently?
Well, simply put, a one-dimensional team against Vanderbilt. So when you can't run the football, that makes it hard to convert third downs. You know why? Because you're in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. You're
Of the equation, we've seen them win games in different ways now this season. They have 3 wins against ranked opponents, if you're counting when South Carolina was in the top 15 when they beat the Gamecocks. What did you learn about this team with the way they were able to beat Missouri on Saturday? It's going to be just such a great, even matchup, but also a physical rock fight. If you had to identify an area of Texas's team where they may have an advantage over Vanderbilt, where would it be if there is one?
schematically on defense.
You're going to give us your contenders, your locks, and your teams that are on the bubble as it relates to the CFP and where we think we could be this time next week. Let's start with your teams on the bubble.
Well, on the bubble is really self-explanatory. What this is that nobody in this group can afford to lose Saturday. That's the bottom line. If they lose, they're going to be out. OU, obviously, and Tennessee are playing each other, so that's why it's huge. Texas is playing Vandy, but none of these teams, they all have 2 losses, and none of these teams can afford a 3rd loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly with some of the stumbles that they have had earlier in the season already. Okay, our next group is our contenders.
The contenders. And
how about these 3?
I know. And what's amazing about this, some people are going to say contender when they see who the locks are. They're going to go, Alabama's a contender. What, have you lost your mind? But the reason these are contenders is because they've got 1 loss, but their schedules are still challenging, right? So again, you can just take Alabama as the example, right? So they've got 1 loss. Times the head coach. That's how Ed Orgeron got the job at LSU several years ago, right?
Yeah.
Guess what Dabo Swinney did? He did the exact same thing, and he's been at Clemson ever since. He was an assistant. They'll go in, they'll change some things up, they'll tweak some things, they'll make it a little bit light. You know, a change of pace sometimes gives you that energy to kind of get you to the next level. You could see it this week against Florida in the Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. Vandy's chances for the CFP skyrocket if they can get a win at Texas this weekend. All right, your locks.
My lock.
Who's a lock? Oh.
Why are they locks? Number one, Texas A&M is playing lights out. I have not seen Texas A&M look that good against a talented football team proportions against LSU, so they're just playing out of their mind right now. I love where Ole Miss has come. And I've had my doubts about them all year. At least they were always in a prove-it pattern for me. Saturday, they proved that, you know what, they can score points. When you have 431 yards of offense against Oklahoma's defense, you are legit. We know the quarterback's legit, but what I love about both of these guys is their schedule is favorable the rest of the year. If they don't stumble against somebody like a South Carolina at home. Now look, I think they learned from the Washington State game a couple of weeks ago, you can't play these teams close. But again, I think these 2 are pretty much locks. They're undefeated. They've got 1 loss, but their schedules are very favorable.
No one loves what South Carolina did this past Saturday against Alabama more than Lane Kiffin.
100.
When it comes to getting his guys' attention, you nailed it with Washington State. And then think about last year. Remember when they went to Gainesville at the end of the season? They were supposed to be a lock for the CFP.
Exactly.
And then they lost that game as well. These are good. We can't wait to see what the top 25 look like next week, which, of course, will involve some teams outside of the SEC.